Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel where we're playing First Winchester from Death Valley Battles for Shenandoah. We're still on turn 3, the 0600 hours turn. Jackson just did a pretty critical attack on Gordon's brigade, and now we're drawing our next AM, and it is Union Cavalry. Hey, look at that, I remember to put them in this time. So Union Cavalry is going to have quite a lot to do. Let me think about what we can do with them. Okay, so 8th New York finally moved and dismounted. They're down to 3 SPs for the horse holders. Since they're under advance orders, they can't shoot and move. 1st Maine and 5th New York are going to use their carbines at range 2 to fire on the 27th Virginia and the 33rd Virginia. I think see, okay. Technically, that's coming through the, oh, well, I don't know why it doesn't snap to the hex line. Okay, so it's coming through the flank of these units, so they don't get the, the stone wall bonus. So we have 5 SPs worth of carbines at -1. And target is hit by flanking fire for +1. So we're at even die roll. Oh wow, 10 on the 5 column is a 1 automatic disorder. Wow, that's crazy. Who would have thought carbines could cause so much havoc? Get under there and rotate. Okay, so since 27th Virginia disordered, 33rd Virginia has to do a cohesion check. So they're at a +2 because of their fatigue. 5, so they pass. Well, okay. Now I think we can still do a reaction facing change. No, because I think we'll have to turn the whole stack, and 27th Virginia will have to do another disorder check for a UDD check, so we're not going to reaction fire. Union Cavalry, look at that, guys. 1st Michigan not going to do anything. So on to the next activation. It is Confederate, it is Jackson. So this is Jackson's 2nd activation, and I think he really has a chance to put the nail in the coffin here. So let me move Campbell first, since he's kind of just hanging out here on the flank, not really doing much, and then I'll bring you back. Alright, so here we are at the end of Campbell's movement, at least. All the artillery fired at Battery F, all of them whiffed. Campbell moved up here. He didn't have very much movement, but he was moving in clear terrain. 1st Virginia Battalion moved 1 hex, I think it was, to here. And Battery F took a approaching fire, and 1st Virginia passed its cohesion check. So then the 48th Virginia and the 21st Virginia moved 1 hex forward. That was all they could move because of their crappy movement. But at least they're going to be in range to fire next activation if they choose to do so. Now we have a lot of this stuff to do. Yeah, we're gonna have, let me think about this, piece this out, and then I'll let you know what it looks like. All right, so I think Fulkerson is going to Or maybe... Since we start next to a unit, we can, even though we're disordered, we can still shock. Question is... So I don't think Fulkerson is going to shock, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Jackson can move up to here and shock to 27th Indiana, and he is in good order. It's pretty strong. 5th Virginia is still a pretty strong regiment. And then Winder can maybe attack Gordon. Okay, so Fulkerson is going to fire on the 27th Indiana. So we have, well, we're going to use 7 from the 10th Virginia, 37th Virginia with their muskets. This is prepared fire because we haven't moved. So we're at a +2 for a range of 1. +1 for prepared fire. +1 for attacking and flanking fire. So it's a +4. They don't get the hex bonus. -2 for fatigue is +2. And -1 for disordered units firing. So it's just a +1 after all that. And a 1. On the 7 column is a D -2, which the Union will need. And with a 0, they make it. Now, they could change facing, but that would cause... I think we're going to keep our facing because... Yeah, we're going to keep our facing. We don't want to have to do a disorder check before we have to, and this is played out. So Fulkerson's brigade is done. Now let's activate Winder's brigade. Instead of moving, the 33rd Virginia is going to change its stacking order. So now it's at the top with its rifles. And we are going to fire on the 3rd Wisconsin. And I believe that is flanking fire. And with their rifles at range 2, it's a +2. Or sorry, +1. +1 for flanking fires, +2, -2 for the fatigue. So straight die roll. Oh, it was almost a 6. On the 3 column, a 2 is nothing. 3rd Wisconsin has its muskets. They would have to change facing to hit 33rd Virginia, which I don't think they're going to do. 27th Virginia is going to attempt to rally. And a 7, I know that's not good. Oh wait, it's their cohesion. Wow, see, the Confederates, they have some really good cohesion situation going on here. So let's attack with Jackson. He's going to move 1, and that's going to be a shock. He's not going to shoot. Winder, he's got disorder. I think if that fire, well, we might as well shoot. It's going to be across the Stonewall hex. Okay, so rifles, prepared fire. +1, +1 for prepared fire, -1 for Stonewall, -2 for fatigue is a -3 over, -1 overall. So it's a 3 on the 7 column. It's just a straight disorder check. It's a 6. And they get 0, so they're fine. And now the 3rd Wisconsin is going to fire back with their 7 muskets. This is going to hurt. +2, +1. -1, so it's a +2. Oh no. 8 + 2 is 10 on the 7 column, 1 disorder. So 1, well, there a 3. And now they get a second disorder though from fire table, so they lose 1 SP again. And they retreat 1 to 2 hexes. Come on now. We'll retreat them back to here, I think. So now 2nd Virginia has to do a UDD. It's a -2 for its fatigue, and it is fine. And then now Winder on a roll of 0. Something bad happens. Oop. Oh, a 2. So okay, so technically I should have done I think I should have done the disorder for the unit first and then Winder, whatever. So he's fine now. Well, sort of. So his movement and fire is done. Now let's do Jackson's shock resolution. Here we go. You'd think I'd be getting good at this by now, but I'm not. So designate target, retreat before shock. Might just do that. Okay, so I don't think the 27th Indiana could retreat because it would end up in the frontal hex of a Confederate unit, and that's not legal. So we're on to pre-shock cohesion test. We are +1 because the unit is disordered. Eight is way wrong or way bad. Pre-shock cohesion, so we need to do another UDD. If we pass, we lose 1 SP and retreat 1 to 2 hexes. If we fail, we rout. 7 fails, so he routs. And Jackson can move into this hex. There's no adjoining Union unit to chain the route onto. So the shock is complete. Now we have to increase he gets disordered, I mean. And that's that. That's Jackson's division activation complete. Alright, so that's the end of Jackson's division's activation, his second activation. And just some housekeeping when I was reviewing some rules. I've messed this up in previous videos, but hopefully now I've corrected it. Units under advance orders utilizing march movement still face a vertex, not the hex side. So I fixed Taylor's brigade for that. So yeah, sorry about that. But now we go ahead and we're gonna pull our next chit. So let me pull that. And it is a Union Cavalry chit. So not what Banks needed right now. Okay, so I think we're gonna probably mount and move the 1st Michigan. So the Confederates need to exit from 1901 to 3501, I think. So that's where they can exit to get victory points. So I think we're gonna bring this guy back around here I mean, this flank's already gone, but we need to have like a rear guard set up. And then we'll probably fire these cavalry again. And I think 8th New York is probably just fine right there. So I'll go ahead and remount and move him, fire him, and bring you back to show you what it all looks like. Alright, so 1st Michigan remounted, moved here to support F Battery. 1st Maine and 5th New York fired their carbines at the 33rd Virginia, who became disordered, and the 27th Virginia passed its own disorder check. So that's the Union Cavalry activation. Next is Confederate, and it is Jackson. So this is going to be his 3rd activation, but I mean, if we go to 4 fatigue, it doesn't really, we're already at the max for fatigue impact on everything, because 4 divided by 2 is the same as 3 divided by 2 rounded up. So we have nothing to lose at this point. But it will be good because we'll be able to turn Fulkerson's brigade to address this artillery unit and clean up. If we can get another route, then Gordon's brigade will be brigade ineffective. Anyway, so I'm gonna take a look, see what I want to do, bring you back when that's all done. Okay, so actually first we're going to fire the 48th Virginia on Battery F, and Battery F is going to obviously return fire. So 48th Virginia is firing their rifles at range 2 for +1. There is no terrain, but they do get -2 for their fatigue, so it's a -1 on this die roll, and it's on the 7 column, even though it's the same 6, whether it's 6 or 7 is on the same column. Anyway, 6 -1 is a 5, and it's a D +1 for Battery F, and a 5 passes. Now Battery F fires back with their 10-pound Parrots at a range of 2, is +2 on the small arms table. It's a mass target for +1. They're at the same elevation, so it's a +3 overall. Oh, it was almost a 7, but it's a 1. So 1 +3 on the 4 column of small arms is a 4, so it's just a straight disorder check. 48th Virginia is +2 for the fatigue. Ooh, that's hurts. That's a disorder. And now the 21st Virginia looks like it's a +2. They pass with a roll of a 2. 1st Virginia Battalion is going to move up. I believe they get to do the Battery F does the approaching fire because it's different from return fire, so maybe we won't move. Let's just move Campbell himself up to 48th Virginia. 42nd Virginia will move up 1 hex, and their line of sight to Battery F is blocked by this little ridge crest right here. So yeah, that's that. Oh, we forgot to fire our artillery. That could have maybe suppressed it. Okay, I'm gonna take a look at the artillery and bring you back when I've done the shooting. Okay, so the Rockbridge and Allegheny batteries fired on Battery F caused a disorder result. Should have done that before I activated Campbell, but you know, oh well. Now we're going to turn to Fulkerson's brigade. think we're gonna change some facing, maybe fire at Battery M. Let me give a think, and I'll bring it back for die roll. Okay, so Fulkerson thought about rallying, but since there's a positive modifier on the fatigue die roll, he decided to just turn his facing to Battery M. He's not going to fire because that's going to incur a reaction fire. I don't think turning vertexes is considered approaching. Like, I don't think Battery M can now do an approaching fire because we haven't moved closer. But maybe changing vertexes is considered movement. Not sure. But I'm going to keep it like that. And now Winder's brigade is going to activate. Okay, so basically Winder's brigade just rallied. The hard one was the 2nd Virginia, who had to rally next to an enemy unit, but with Winder stacked with them, they were able to rally. And since all we did was rally, I don't think we increase our fatigue. So that's Jackson's division activation complete. And now we will pull our next AM, which is another Confederate. It is Jackson again. Do we want to... I think we might activate Winder and try to put this home. So let me give it a think, and I'll bring you back when everything's set up, probably for a shock attack. Okay, so here's the plan. 33rd Virginia, 27th Virginia are shock attacking this poor cavalry. 4th Virginia and 2nd Virginia are going to shock attack 3rd Wisconsin, and 5th Virginia is going to shock attack the 2nd Massachusetts. So I think we're going to go from left to right, because if we can route the 2nd Mass, then that will chain onto 3rd Wisconsin. So let's go to our shock resolution table. So we designated the targets. Perform retreat before shock. So we need to decide if... I mean, this is not looking good, but if we do retreat before shock, we have to undergo a UDD. I think we're just going to stand. So we're going to do our pre-shock resolution check, cohesion check. And let's see, pre-shock DRMs. Don't have a leader. We are disordered for +1. It's a 3, so that's good. We passed our cohesion check. And now we are going to pre-shock reaction fire. So we have 7 SPs with European rifles at a range of 1, so +1. +2 for prepared fire. -1 for disordered unit firing, so +1 is a 5. On this is a D +1. And it's going to be... So, yeah, so it's a, sorry, D +1, +2 for the fatigue is a +3, but then -3 for Jackson, so it's just a straight cohesion check. 5 means the 5th Virginia passes. And now we move on to resolve the shock. So we did, let me do my math stuff, and I'll bring it back when I've tallied that up. Okay, so we have a +2 odds modifier because even though the odds are 1 to 1.5, or they would be rounded to 1 to 1.5 if um, the terrain benefited to the defender, but it doesn't, and we are charging, so it's a 1 to 1. And disorder, defender's disorder, and we got a charge benefit, so yeah, it's a +2. 6, 7, 8 is defender retreats, 1 hex and is disordered, plus the attacker may or must continue shock. Now for his second disorder from shock table results, that's a fail. So he is, the second Massachusetts is routed, and now the third Wisconsin has to pass a cohesion check, but they have Gordon and Williams, so they get a -2, and they pass. So now Jackson moves forward. Okay, so Jackson moves into this hex. He can only change 1 vertex, and he needs to continue to shock, but there's nobody in his front hexes, so the continued shock is done. So we apply our automatic disorder. And this shock is now completed. So we move on to Winder and the 4th Virginia, shocking Gordon. And I just realized it should have only been a 6 because we had the -2 for the fatigue. So there was no continued shock anyway, which works out well. So he just advances, changes 1 vertex. Sorry about that. Now back to Winder. So we can't retreat before shock because we would end in the frontal hex of Jackson and the 5th Virginia. So we go to the pre-shock cohesion test. Again, it's a -2 because of Williams. And they pass. So we do a pre-shock reaction fire. Third Wisconsin's gonna I think they're just gonna use all 7 of their fire. Sorry, this is their cohesion. Probably at Winder and the 2nd Virginia. So they are prepared fire with muskets. Oh, this is gonna hurt. So +2 for being range 1, +1 for prepared fire. They're not disordered, so it's a +3. Cool. But it's only a 2. Up to a 5 on the 7 column is a D+1, which is negated by Winder's star, but then it's still a +2 for fatigue. And a 4, so they pass. Back to the resolution. So now we resolve the shock. So we determine our... Find my pen. So we determine the all the DRMs. I'll bring you back when that's done. So actually, this isn't looking too great for the Confederates, at least. So total is 8 plus 2 is 10 to 12, and since we're attacking across the stone wall hex, it's in favor of the defender, which means we round in the defender's favor. So it's a 1 to 1.5 for -1. Then -1 for attacking across the stone wall, -2 for the fatigue. So it's a -2 overall. But actually, okay. Okay, so for the DRMs for this one, I'm pretty sure 3rd Wisconsin is surrounded. All of the surrounding hexes are in the frontal hex of an enemy, even though they can't combine. So I think that's a +5. So it's a +7 overall for the Union, -4 in favor of the Confederates, -4 for the Union is a +3 overall, I believe. So I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna roll now. It's a 3 + 3 is 6. So defender retreats 1 hex and is disordered. Alright, so since they would retreat but couldn't, they lose a step instead. So they're down to 11 steps and disordered. Okay, so Winder is fatigued. And I think that concludes the shock, at least. Okay, so now we are automatically disordered. And I guess the 3rd Wisconsin just kind of stands its ground behind the stone wall. They don't have anywhere to go. I guess some stragglers got captured by Jackson. But, okay, now we're going to do this shock. But we are going to retreat before shock, obviously. So we're just going to retreat 1 hex. We advance 1 step. And that concludes, these units aren't going to move or anything, I don't think. Well, they might as well, actually. No. I don't know, I don't think about this, but that concludes at least Winder's activation. So, Gordon's brigade is going to be ineffective at the end of the turn because 3 out of their 4 regiments routed. And honestly, I don't know how much is worth playing now because Taylor has 3 turns to mosey on up the Valley Pike and exit the board. And if he does so, according to the game rules, if a brigade with a fatigue level of 0 or less exits, then the Confederates automatically win. There's a chance, I guess, that Donnelly could retreat to Winchester, so I guess we might as well keep playing. So I think when Ewell activates, he'll be able to hit him in the flank. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably end. Okay, so we are going to end the turn there. Jackson's happy with the progress he's made. And to be honest, I've kind of forgotten. It's been so long. It's been a couple of days now. I forget what I've done. So we're just going to call Jackson's turn complete. And I'm going to just end the video here and pick it up in the next video with the next activation draw. So until then, bye for now.